Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Abhineet Shukla bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring to you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. President Draupadi Murmu says Indian diaspora can be a force multiplier in the nation's inclusive development. Brazil's president criticizes police response to Sunday's Congress attack. China blocks South Korea and Japan visas over COVID. Iran sentences daughter of former president to 5 years in prison. Recently discovered green comet to make appearance in night sky, first time in 50,000 years. And in cricket, India defeats Sri Lanka by 67 runs in first One-Day International at Guwahati. President Draupadi Murmu said, the Indian diaspora has become an important and unique force in the global system. Addressing the valedictory session of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas PBD convention in Indore on Tuesday, the President praised overseas Indians for excelling in various walks of life through hard work and resilience. She added, Indian diaspora's collective power and potential will be a force multiplier in the nation's inclusive development. She invited each and every member of the diaspora family to become a full partner in this journey. The President added, India is engaging with the world with greater self-confidence and a wider goal of securing national interests. She further added that the Indian diaspora has grown into an energetic and confident community in every region and is making stellar contributions to world affairs in leadership positions. On the occasion, the President honoured 27 people with Pravasi Bharatiya Samman for their commendable work in the fields of education, art, culture, business and community service. The President said she hoped that whoever has received the honour, it will motivate them to do better in future. It is a unique platform that connects India and the Pravasi community. The program was also addressed by Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia. Thirukumar Nadesan has been chosen to receive Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award for his contribution towards community welfare. Mr. Nadesan had initiated a fundraiser to assist stranded Indian citizens in Sri Lanka during the COVID outbreak. He actively promotes business and cultural exchanges between India and Sri Lanka. Mr. Nadesan is the second member of Indian diaspora from Sri Lanka to receive the honour. With over 15 lakh people of Indian origin residing in Sri Lanka, strong ties exist between the two countries. A delegation of 30 people from Sri Lanka, which is the biggest till date, is attending the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas convention in Indore. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas.
Pravasi Bharatiya Divas PBD convention is a flagship event of the Government of India. It provides an important platform to engage and connect with the overseas Indians and to enable the diaspora to interact with each other. The 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas convention has been organized in partnership with the Madhya Pradesh government from 8 to 10 January 2023 in Indore. The theme of this year's PBD convention is Diaspora Reliable Partners for India's Progress in Amrit Kaal. Over 3,500 diaspora members from nearly 70 different countries have registered for the PBD convention. In fact, 9th of January is a very significant date in India's history. It was on 9th January 1915 that Mahatma Gandhi returned to India from South Africa to lead our struggle for independence. The first PBD convention was held in 2003. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has the unique distinction of having attended all the PBD conventions till now. The Youth Pravasi Bharatiya Divas was held in partnership with the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Ms. Zaneta Maskiaranhas, Member of Parliament of Australia, will be the guest of honour at the Youth Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. The PBD convention was inaugurated by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The chief guest of the event this year is Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali, the President of Cooperative Republic of Guyana, while the special guest of honour is Mr. Chandrika Prasad Santoki, the President of the Republic of Suriname. A commemorative postal stamp, Surakshit Jaye, Prasikshit Jaye, was released to underline the importance of safe, legal, orderly and skilled migration. The Prime Minister also inaugurated the first ever digital PBD exhibition on the theme Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Contribution of Diaspora in Indian Freedom Struggle, to highlight the contribution of a diaspora freedom fighters in India's independence. In view of India's ongoing presidency of the G20, a special town hall would also be organized. On 10th January 2023, the President of India, Mrs. Draupadi Murmu, will confer Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awards 2023 to preside over the valedictory session. Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awards are conferred to select Indian diaspora members to recognize achievements and honor their contributions to various fields both in India and abroad. The PBD convention is 5 thematic plenary sessions on role of diaspora youth in innovations and new technologies, chaired by Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mr. Anurag Singh Thakur. Role of Indian diaspora in promoting Indian health care ecosystem and Amrit Kal Vision at 2047 was chaired by Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, and co-chaired by Minister of State for External Affairs, Dr. Rajkumar Ranjan Singh. Leveraging the soft power of India goodwill through craft, cuisine and creativity was chaired by Minister of State for External Affairs and Culture, Mrs. Meenakshi Lekhi. A 4th plenary on enabling global mobility of Indian workforce, role of Indian diaspora was chaired by Minister of Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan. The 5th plenary on harnessing the potential of diaspora entrepreneurs towards an inclusive approach to nation building was chaired by Minister of Finance, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. Delivering the inaugural address at the 17th PBD, the Prime Minister commended the Indian diaspora for the stellar role as ambassadors of India in the adopted countries. Mr. Modi described them as ambassadors of Make in India, Skill India and Swachh Bharat, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Yoga, Ayurveda and India's holistic way of living. He called upon the Pravasis to keep playing positive role as a bridge between the land of the ancestors and the land of the residents. India is deeply grateful of its Pravasis, said the Prime Minister. Today, Indian diaspora numbers around 33 million. In many countries, persons of Indian origin, PIOs, have occupied the highest post of the land. In many countries, people of Indian origin are leading in businesses, education, healthcare and other fields. In the Amrit Kal of India's independence, Prime Minister Modi expressed confidence that Indian Pravasis will play a proactive role in carrying India's centuries-old message of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam forward.
Home Minister Amit Shah on Tuesday inaugurated Jai Hind, the new light and sound show at Red Fort in New Delhi. On this occasion, Mr. Shah said that its history and heritage of India has been presented very well in this one-hour show. He said, those who do not learn from history cannot build a great nation. He called upon the people to make collective efforts to make the country number 1 in the world in the coming 25 years during the Amrit Kal. He said, several programs have been started during the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to showcase the contribution of the freedom fighters so that young people can learn from them. According to the Ministry of Culture, the show will be showcased in Hindi and English languages. A total of 700 people can watch the show at one time. The Light and Sound Show in Red Fort is being started after a gap of almost 5 years. The show is a new avatar of the Light and Sound Show, in which a dramatic presentation of bravery and the history of India from the 17th century to the present day will be shown. The 1-hour-long show has been divided into 3 parts, showcasing the important historical events related to rise of the Marathas, the 1857 War of Independence, the rise of the Indian National Army, INA trial, and the fight for independence. The country's progress over the past 75 years will also be presented by showcasing various performance art forms like projection mapping, live action films, light and immersive sound, actors, dancers and puppets. Over 175,000 Indians will perform Hajj this year. Minority Affairs Minister Smriti Irani said that India has signed the Hajj 2023 bilateral agreement with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In a series of tweets, Ms. Irani said, over the last 2 months, her ministry has had extensive consultations with all the stakeholders. She said, India's Hajj policy 2023 will be announced in the next few days. The minister extended gratitude to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the Hajj quota of 175,025 to India. Ms. Irani said, the government will extend all its support for the success of Hajj 2023. She said, the portal of the Hajj Committee of India will be open for online applications. The 26th National Youth Festival will be held in the twin cities of Hubli, Dharwad in Karnataka from 12th to 16th of January. Addressing media in New Delhi, Union Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports Anurag Singh Thakur said that the theme of this year's Youth Festival is Viksit Yuva, Viksit Bharat. He informed that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the National Youth Festival 2023 on Thursday to coincide with the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. Mr. Thakur said, Over 7,500 youth delegates from all over the country are expected to participate in this event.
The 26th National Youth Festival will be held from 12th of January till 16th of January in Hubli, Dharwad in the state of Karnataka. More than 7,500 participants will participate from all the states and union territories of India. During the opening ceremony, more than 30,000 students and youth will be present in the opening program, and I am glad to announce that the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, he will be the chief guest during the inaugural ceremony.
Mr. Thakur said that traditional games like Kalaripayattu, Thangta, Gatka, Mallakhambh and Yogasan will be the part of the festival. He said social development fair, Yuva Kriti and food festival will be organized to provide an opportunity to young artisans to showcase their arts and crafts. The minister said assuming of G20 presidency is a great moment for India. Mr. Thakur said under this youth talks will be held across the country in the colleges and universities. During the talks, issues of national education policy, climate change, water and energy will be discussed. The center of the Youth Festival focuses on cultural aspects and a number of other programs covering a wide variety of activities. Besides all this, the festival provides a nationwide exposure to the youth for the expression and fulfillment of their cultural talents and aspirations. The plenary session of the first meeting of G20 Working Group on Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion began in Kolkata on Tuesday. Union Minister for Tribal Affairs, Arjun Munda, delivered the inaugural address at the meeting. In his inaugural address, Mr. Munda stressed the need for just and equitable development of all. Reiterating India's vision of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, he said, "We strive for a human-centric globalization where no one is left behind." Mr. Munda said, "As we navigate through these turbulent times in a sustainable, holistic and responsible manner, the process of financial inclusion enables us to find a way for better currency management." The minister later participated in a sensitization program of financial literacy for the school children at the Vishwa Bangla Convention Center.
Through G20 presidency, the Indian vision is to promote a universal sense of oneness and to work together to set a new paradigm of human-centric globalization where no one will remain behind. Our G20 logo and theme together convey the message of India's G20 presidency, which is of striving for just and equitable growth for all in the world.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news. Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has joined a growing chorus of accusations against the country's security forces as questions mounted on how protesters were able to breach government buildings and wreak havoc inside over the weekend. Protesters supporting the far-right former President Jair Bolsonaro besieged the Supreme Court, the Presidential Palace and Congress on Sunday, calling for the military to intervene and oust Lula da Silva, who returned to power after a 12-year hiatus following a slim run-off victory over Bolsonaro last October. On Monday morning, heavily armed officers started dismantling a camp of Mr. Bolsonaro supporters in Brasilia. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of people are now demonstrating in Brazil's largest city, Sao Paulo, in support of democratic values. China has stopped issuing short-term visas to individuals from South Korea and Japan in retaliation for COVID restrictions on Chinese travelers. Visas for South Koreans entering China have been suspended, Beijing's embassy in South Seoul said, with Japanese media reporting China had imposed similar measures there. Beijing says the rule will remain in place until discriminatory entry restrictions against China are lifted. Former Iranian President Akbar Hashmi Rafsanjani's daughter, Faiza Hashmi, a known Iranian activist, has been sentenced to 5 years in prison, her lawyer said on Tuesday. State-aligned news agency ISNA said Hashmi was indicted last year by Tehran's public prosecutor on charges of propaganda against the system. Iran has detained a number of high-profile activists in recent months, including writer and poet Mona Bozoi, singer Shervin Hajipour, and Iranian football player Hossein Mahini, as anti-government protests rocked the country. The executions on Saturday of two young men in Iran, one a karate champion, the other a volunteer children's coach, in connection with the nationwide protests, sparked outrage around the world. The total number of people now known to have been executed in connection with the protests sparked by the death of 22-year-old Kurdish Iranian woman Mahsa Amini in police custody in September last year has reached 4. Nepal's new Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachand secured a vote of confidence in Parliament on Tuesday. Dahal won a vote of confidence in the House almost unopposed.
Pushpa Kamal Dahal received 268 votes in the 275-member parliament. A total of 2 lawmakers voted against and none remained neutral. A total of 270 lawmakers were present in today's meeting. The Prime Minister required at least 138 votes to win the trust motion. Prem Suwal of the National Workers and Peasants Party and Chitra Bahadur Kesi of Rashtriya Jan Morcha opposed the motion of confidence vote. The House of Representatives does not have any opposition party for now, as the 2 parties opposing Dahal have not got the recognition of a national party as per the parliamentary laws. Addressing the parliament while tabling the trust motion, Prime Minister Dahal said he is ready to take ahead the politics of consensus, cooperation and mutual trust. The Prime Minister said he asked for a vote of confidence with a commitment to ensure social justice, good governance and prosperity. Prime Minister Dahal said this time he, as the head of government, wished to give the world a message of national unity in Nepal and pledged to remain dedicated to his duties and responsibilities and give something new to the people. He vowed to promote the rule of law by totally discouraging the practice of gaining unfair advantages on the basis of access and connections. Dahal echoed the need of having a national consensus, concluding some of the remaining tasks for the peace process and garnering a development budget worth rupees 6,000 billion. Shweta Singh for All India Radio, Kathmandu.
Vishwa Hindi Divas was celebrated on Tuesday in Indian Embassy, Kathmandu. World Hindi Day is celebrated every year to promote awareness about the language across the world. It is also the day when Hindi, India's national language, was spoken for the first time in the United Nations General Assembly. It was on this day in 1975 that the first World Hindi Conference was held in Nagpur. Since then, such conferences are organized in different parts of the world every year. Tribhuvan University of Nepal has the only Hindi department in the Himalayan nation. Students and teachers from Tribhuvan University participated in the event to promote Hindi as international language. Indian Embassy has offered 1 lakh rupee worth books to Tribhuvan University on World Hindi Divas. On occasion of Vishwa Hindi Divas, there was launch of 3 Hindi books sponsored by Indian Embassy. The chief guest of the event, parliamentarian Mangal Prasad Gupta, member of Hindi Nepal Manch, showed determination of making Hindi as international language and making Hindi as official language in the United Nations. In 2009, the Government of India actively worked to have Hindi recognized as an official language of the UN. In 2015, the then Nepal's Vice President Parmanand Jha stated his firm support for the inclusion of Hindi as an official language of the UN. The US Senior Director for South Asia, National Security Council Rear Admiral Eileen Laubacheur, held discussions with Foreign Secretary Masood bin Momen on a wide range of bilateral issues of mutual interest in Dhaka. Rear Admiral Eileen Laubacheur is currently in Bangladesh on a 4-day official visit. The Foreign Secretary and Rear Admiral Eileen Laubacheur discussed defense cooperation, Indo-Pacific strategy, maritime safety and security, strengthening capacities of the law enforcing agencies and cyber security among others, said an official statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bangladesh, MOFA, on Tuesday. The senior US official also praised Bangladesh for sheltering more than 1 million forcibly displaced Myanmar nationals. They discussed humanitarian support from the international community for this distressed population. The Foreign Secretary appreciated the US government for supporting the resolutions in the United Nations related to the Rohingya population and also for recognizing the genocide, said MOFA. Asked about the 2 proposed agreements, General Security of Military Information Agreement, that is GSO-MIA, and the Acquisition Cross-Servicing Agreement, that is ACSA, with the US, Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen said, "Our major focus is people's welfare. But to protect our economic development, security is also essential," reports UNB. Taipei has slammed Beijing for escalating the situation at the Taiwan Strait after more than 57 Chinese jets crossed the median line on Tuesday as part of the latest round of military exercises around the self-governed island. In a tweet, Taiwan Defense Ministry said 57 PLA aircraft and 4 planned vessels around Taiwan were detected. It added that Taiwan's armed forces will keep monitoring the situation and safeguarding their homeland and people. In a separate statement on its website, Taiwan said China's provocative actions have seriously damaged the peace and stability of the Taiwan Strait, a 180-kilometer wide strait separating the island Taiwan and continental Asia. A recently discovered comet named C2022 E3 ZTF will soon make an appearance in the night sky for the first time in 50,000 years. According to NASA, the comet will make its closest approach to the Sun on January 12, 2023. It was discovered on March 2, 2022 by astronomers using the Zwicky Transient Facility's Wild Field Survey camera at the Palomar Observatory in San Diego County, California. The icy celestial object, which has steadily brightened as it approaches the Sun, will subsequently make its closest pass of Earth between February 1st and 2nd, around 26 million miles, that is 42 million kilometers away, according to Earth Sky. As the comet nears Earth, observers will be able to spot it near the bright star Polaris, also called the North Star, and it should be visible earlier in the evening. The comet should be visible through binoculars in the morning sky for sky watchers in the northern hemisphere during most of January and those in the southern hemisphere in early February, according to NASA. A powerful storm battering California has forced thousands to evacuate, including an entire community, and prompted dozens of water rescues as floodwater inundated roadways, swept away vehicles, and caused widespread damage. The entire community of Montecito in Santa Barbara County was ordered to evacuate Monday, along with the residents in parts of Carpinteria, Summerlin, and the city of Santa Barbara. Parts of the Pacific Coast Highway, a key seaside California highway, were closed in Southern California due to the flooding, officials said. More than 34 million people were under flood watches early Tuesday after parts of the Central California coast received 1 to 1.25 inches of rain per hour Monday, the Weather Prediction Centre said. In UK, the privately owned Virgin Orbit's first space launch from Britain's soil has failed when a reported anomaly prevented the rocket from reaching orbit on VRs on Tuesday. It was the first attempt to launch a satellite from Western Europe. The repurposed Virgin Atlantic Boeing 747 aircraft named Cosmic Girl took off from Cornwall in southwestern England and released the rocket around an hour into flight over the Atlantic Ocean towards the south of Ireland. However, Virgin Orbit said it appeared to have an anomaly in a satellite launch and it had prevented the rocket from reaching orbit. A crowd of around 2,000 people attended the takeoff in Cornwall. Previously in 2022 and 2021, Virgin Orbit launched 4 similar missions from California after some failed attempts. A magnitude of 7.7 earthquake struck Tanimbar region in Indonesia on Tuesday, the European Mediterranean Seismological Center, that is EMSC, said. The epicenter of the quake was 427 kilometers, that is 265 miles south of the Indonesian island of Ambon at a depth of 95 kilometers, USGS said. Indonesia's Meteorology, Climatology and Geophysics Agency, BMKG, reported some aftershocks at a magnitude of 5.5. According to the agency, the tremor was felt on the islands of Timor, Maluku Archipelago and Papua. But there were no reports of damages or victims. The Indonesian Geophysics Agency warned about a potential tsunami initially and then lifted the warning. The quake was felt as far as Darwin, capital of Australia's Northern Territory, where at least 1,000 people reported it to be the Australian Geoscience Agency. Bollywood film Kashmir Files has been shortlisted for Oscars 2023. The film director Vivek Agnihotri informed about the shortlisting of this film in the Oscar. The Kashmir File revolves around the mass exodus of Kashmiri Pandits in the year 1990. Other films Kantara, RRR, Gangubai Kathiawadi and Cello Show have also been shortlisted for Oscars 2023. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur said that it is a matter of pride for everybody that Indian films have been shortlisted for the Oscars. In cricket, India defeated Sri Lanka by 67 runs in the first one-day international of the 3-match series at Barsapara Cricket Stadium in Guwahati. Chasing a victory target of 374, the visitors made 306 for 8 in their allotted 50 overs. Dasun Shanaka hit an unbeaten 108 runs, Pathum Nissanka 72 and Dhananjay De Silva 47. For India, Umran Malik took 3 wickets, Mohammad Siraj 2, while Hardik Pandya, Mohammad Shami and Yuzvendra Chahal took 1 wicket each. With this, India has taken a 1-0 lead in the series. Earlier, asked to bat first, India made 373 for 7 in their allotted 50 overs. Virat Kohli scored 113, his 73rd international century. Rohit Sharma made 83 and Shubman Gill contributed 70 runs. For Sri Lanka, Kasan Rajitha took 3 wickets. The Sensex and the Nifty on Tuesday fell around 1%. Index of top 30 companies at Bombay Stock Exchange ended near 60,100 points. The index of top 50 companies at National Stock Exchange closed near 17,900 level. Both indices declined amid mixed global cues. The rupee appreciated 57 paise against the US currency to finish below the 82 rupees per dollar mark. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex plunged 632 points to settle at 60,115. Nifty also slipped 187 points to finish at 17,914. Among global stock markets, Asian shares ended mixed. South Korea's Kospi added marginally by 0.1% and Japan's Nikkei 225 rose 0.8%. On the other hand, China's Shanghai Composite Index slipped 0.2%, Hong Kong's Hang Seng fell 0.3% and Singapore's Straits Times declined 1.3%. European shares were down in intraday trade. Oil prices added 0.5%, trading in a narrow range as the market awaited the Federal Reserve's plans for rate hikes to gauge the impact on the economy and fuel demand. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at $80 per barrel. Back home, at the multi-commodity exchange, gold futures for February was trading at 55,755 rupees per 10 grams. Silver futures for March was trading at 68,310 rupees per kilogram when reports last came in. At the forex market, the rupee strengthened 57 paise to close at 81 rupees and 79 paise against the US dollar. This is Lalema Aneja Dang for World News, All India Radio.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian writes, negotiations on Chagos Island's sovereignty face legal challenge. The Washington Post reports, satellite images show crowds at China's crematoriums as COVID surges. The New York Times writes, Prince Harry's bridge burner of a memoir signals a bigger royal rift. The Business Recorder writes, Mexico hosts Biden, Trudeau for 3 Amigos Summit. Wall Street Journal writes, Brazilian authorities detain 1,500 protesters involved in riot. The Straits Times says, keep status quo on Taiwan, analysts urge, as scenarios exercise shows war with China would be catastrophic. A quick look at the headlines once again. President Draupadi Murmu says, Indian diaspora can be a force multiplier in the nation's inclusive development. Brazil's president criticizes police response to Sunday's Congress attack. China blocks South Korea and Japan visas over COVID. Iran sentences daughter of former president to 5 years in prison. Recently discovered green comet to make appearance in night sky first time in 50,000 years. And in cricket, India defeats Sri Lanka by 67 runs in the first one-day international at Guwahati. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan Vaishnav Jan by artists from Haiti.
Vaishnav Shalato Tene Kahiye Je Vire Paragi Jare Para Tuke Upakara Kare Doe Mana Abhiman Na Anere Sakala Lokama Saure Bande Nina Nakare Vachkachaman Nichalarake Dhana Dhana Chanani Tenire Amadrishine Trishnakari Parastrijene Madere Chidvataki Asatiana Bo.
With that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.